My name's Commander Steve Stacy. I'm the commanding officer of HSM 77, the Saberhawks. We are a multi-mission helicopter squadron. We're out on the USS Ronald Reagan conducting anti-submarine, anti-surface, and electronic warfare. When we go up and fly, we have a radar system that allows us to see all of the ships that are operating in the area. And then we also have the capability of doing sonar searches. So we have both the capability of dropping sonar buoys in the water, so listening for submarines that may be operating nearby. And we have what's called a dipper, which is an active device that we send into the water and sends out pings and can detect submarines that way.
The benefit of a helicopter is it's able to do missions that a fixed-wing aircraft can't do. Every day is different for a helicopter pilot. On one hand, you might be going out to do a search and rescue mission, or you might be providing a targeting solution for a long-range maritime strike. You're always on your toes. You always have to be ready for something different, and it keeps things interesting.
So the helicopter is a pretty complicated machine. There are people that joke about it not being meant to fly, and sure enough, it takes a lot of work in order to make that happen.
One of my ground jobs, I was the airframes and corrosion control dibbo. Getting to know them and seeing what they did on a daily basis really opened my eyes to how hard they work. It's never ending, their workload, and they manage it with poise and good humor. You think that your job is hard and that you're busy, and then you go and talk to the maintainers and you see how busy they are, and it's humbling for sure.
Everybody here works really hard to try and get these aircraft to continuously stay up, and my specific workload for Work Center 120, we take care of the airframe of the aircraft as well as the hydraulic systems, landing gear, flight controls. And so our workload's never ending. If we're done with one job, we end up hopping on to the next, and it's almost like a never-ending cycle of work. But it's nice to see when you're up on the flight deck for Flight Deck Warrior, you get to see all the pilots and the aircrewmen go into the aircraft that you just rebuilt for phase, and see that the aircraft's flying again.
I grew up near Air Force Base, and I was always, every year they would have an air show. And I remember as a little kid, I'd wander around with the pamphlet of the air show trying to track down all the pilots. And, it was just so incredible. My friends and I, we would be running around trying to get all the signatures of all the stunt pilots and the military pilots that were out there demonstrating their capabilities and skills. And ever since then, I was just in awe of aviation in general and the skills of the pilots, and I wanted to be one since I was pretty little. So here I am, which is pretty cool to be running a squadron. Standing out on the flight deck, I always get a special thrill, whether I'm at the controls or when I'm watching somebody else take off. That first 10, 15 seconds of moving forward and taking a pretty hefty beast and ending up getting into the air. It's just amazing that can happen. Last year, this squadron actually had a mishap. We had a helicopter that had some issues on takeoff and had to crash land back on the flight deck of the ship. And that obviously was a traumatic event, but what really impressed me about our team was how we bounced back. We took a look at everything that we did, made sure that we were still operating safely. We launched again, and we're back up in the fight, and that was no small feat. Right? It was really impressive to see everybody come together, work together, and put all the pieces back together again.
Something that definitely stands out I see is that no matter what type of aircrewman you are, whether it be an S, an R, an O, V, an F, we always take care of each other, definitely. So I know definitely I would take the shirt off my back if one of my Sierra brothers or sisters needed it. So I think that's a good good selling point on the aviation community is just taking care of each other.
At times it can be challenging, but for the most part, that bond is pretty hard to break.
Just like all the forward deployed naval forces, we are ready to go at a moment's notice. The schedule's changing constantly, and that adaptability and flexibility and resilience really what makes this team shine. Over time, we've developed an ability to meet our mission across a significant amount of hardship. And again, we all rely on each other, right? It's not one person. It's every single person trying to get qualified, learning this complicated helicopter, what the nuances are, how to get better at our craft. As a result, we are able to support the strike group and the United States Navy.